Authorities banned these songs for reasons that would make more than a few people laugh today. They ranged from lyrics accused of being offensive or promoting immoral behavior, to songs suspected of challenging the government itself. All became victims of censorship, and many ended up buried in obscurity. Today, we're going to uncover the 10 most banned songs in rock history and the astonishing reasons they were censored. And pay close attention, because one of them would probably be banned all over again, even today. Let's begin. Number 10. Let's Spend the Night Together by The Rolling Stones.
Let's spend the night together.
Let's Spend the Night Together makes no use of metaphors when referring to something that, in 1967, was considered scandalous. That boldness in the lyrics earned the Rolling Stones more than their fair share of headaches. The reason it was banned is very simple. Spending the night with someone carried explicit romantic implications, and, in a society scandalized by any hint of intimacy, it was considered completely out of bounds. The censorship reached its peak on The Ed Sullivan Show. Backstage, Ed Sullivan made the choice perfectly clear to Mick Jagger. Either the song goes, or you do. Mick agreed to replace "Let's Spend the Night Together" with "Let's Spend Some Time Together." Even so, whenever the camera caught him singing the new line, he would glance upward with a grin, openly mocking the censorship. After their performance, Ed Sullivan banned them from the show for good. Yet that was not the end of it. In 2006, during their first concert in China, the authorities also forbade them from performing the song, which was even removed from greatest hits compilations released in the country. The Stones did not earn their reputation as rock and roll's bad boys overnight, but the decision to ban this song for being too explicit and encouraging suggestive behavior now seems almost quaint, especially when compared with the lyrics of many songs today. Number 9. My Generation by The Who. My Generation is unquestionably one of the defining songs of The Who. After releasing their successful debut single, I Can't Explain, in 1964, the band needed a track that could conquer the airwaves, connect with listeners, and keep their momentum growing. When they entered the studio to record this song, written by Pete Townsend on a bus, something about Roger Daltrey's delivery was not quite working. Producer Shel Talmy stepped into the vocal booth at IBC Studios in London and suggested that he stammer. Daltrey, who still has a stammer today, normally kept it completely under control whenever he sang. That unusual choice became a double-edged sword. On one hand, audiences responded immediately to such a distinctive feature, and the song became The Who's biggest hit in the United Kingdom. On the other, BBC executives regarded the stammer as mockery of people who genuinely lived with the condition. On that basis, they banned the song across all their outlets, until public demand became so overwhelming that they had no choice but to relent and put it back on the air. My Generation became an anthem that spoke directly to disaffected youth. And even today, it still resonates through the headphones of teenagers in every corner of the world. Number 8. War Pigs by Black Sabbath. In 1970, Black Sabbath was creating an entirely new world. Until then, heavy metal did not even formally exist as a genre, so when their second album, Paranoid, arrived, nobody knew what to expect. Even so, it did not take long for the public to brand them Satanists and turn their very presence into something dark and demonic. But these Birmingham rockers would not give in easily. and through great songs and legendary performances, they broke through every prejudice placed in their path. That album contained one song in particular that would be banned 31 years after its release, War Pigs. Although it drew negative reactions and resistance from some Catholic and conservative media outlets from the very beginning, it would not be officially banned by the BBC until after the events of September 11th. In 2001, any song containing the word war, or referring to it directly, was pulled from the airwaves. Ironically, its lyricist, bassist Geezer Butler, clarified in a press statement that it was an anti-war song. It specifically condemned the way governments create conflicts from the safety of their offices, while young people are the ones sent to fight them, and ultimately pay the price. Despite its openly anti-war message, the government agency decided to ban it from every broadcasting outlet. Today, more than 2 decades later, it remains one of the band's most iconic songs, raised like a protest banner whenever the world faces another armed conflict. If you're enjoying these hidden stories from rock history, leave a like and subscribe to our channel, Millennium Rock, so you never miss one of our documentaries. Let's continue. Number 7. Give Peace a Chance by John Lennon. John Lennon was more than a musician. He was an icon. Part of what earned him that status was his ability to create music capable of changing the world. In fact, with the world divided by the tensions of the Vietnam War, John and Yoko used their honeymoon to send everyone a message of enormous importance. Give peace a chance. Secluded in their hotel suite in Montreal, Canada, they invited writers, journalists, and friends to sing, reflect, and talk among hand-painted signs and hippie paraphernalia. From that singular moment in history came the first song released outside the band by a Beatle while the group was still together. Its message was urgent: save lives and bring the war to an end. The song was recorded right there on a modest 4-track tape recorder and became a worldwide hit almost immediately. However, government-controlled broadcasters in the United Kingdom and the United States managed to ban it, until public demand and demonstrations in the streets embraced it as the defining anti-war anthem of an entire generation. But it was not banned only in 1969. The BBC banned it again in 1991, when the Gulf War broke out. The list of censored songs included 67 titles spanning every genre of popular music. Even after being banned not once, but twice, this Plastic Ono Band song remains a peace anthem that crosses generations and borders, and it feels more relevant than ever. Number 6. Sky Pilot by The Animals. The Animals became embroiled in heated controversies at several points during their short career. One of them erupted when they released this song as a single. It tells of chaplains who visit military regiments to encourage the soldiers before they go to war. In the lyrics, the chaplain calls them soldiers of God, who are fighting for a greater cause. So far, nothing seems unusual. It sounds like just another song about war. Near the end, however, a soldier returns from the front and realizes that what the chaplain told them contradicts the teachings of the Bible, especially the commandment, "Thou shalt not kill."
But he stayed behind and he'll meditate.
To reinforce that explicit criticism, the band added elements to the recording that deepened the conflict. Alongside the sounds of war, machine guns, gunfire, and low-flying aircraft, they included bagpipes playing "All the Bluebonnets Are Over the Border," a traditional Scottish anti-war song. As a result, the British government sent them a sharply worded letter of disapproval. The single's suppression by mainstream media in both the United Kingdom and the United States turned it into one of the most important protest songs against the Vietnam War. At 7 minutes long, with an extended section of battlefield sounds and bagpipes, it was never designed to top the charts. But the government made sure that as few people as possible would ever hear it. Number 5. Eve of Destruction by Barry McGuire.
Me over and over and over.
At just 19 years old, P.F. Sloan wrote this song during a feverish night in 1965, with no idea that it was about to send a shockwave through the music industry. He was a staff songwriter for the label that had McGuire under contract, mainly writing pop songs, until the mood of the era changed everything. But the chain of coincidences that would carry Eve of Destruction to number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, and at the same time condemn both its songwriter and performer, had not yet begun.
I can't twist the truth, it knows no regulation.
Recorded in a single take in the early hours of the morning, it captured a raspy, intimate vocal. It was never intended as an A-side, but as an introspective B-side. A DJ played the wrong side by mistake, unleashing a torrent of phone calls that flooded radio stations and drove the song all the way to the top. Yet while the single flew off the shelves, the country's most powerful stations refused to play it. Worse still, any favorable press for Barry McGuire was branded unpatriotic. In wartime, with the country deeply divided, that destroyed P.F. Sloan's career. He lost his job and was effectively barred from writing for other artists. Soon afterward, the press turned on Barry as well, cutting short what had seemed like a promising career in folk music.
Of destruction.
Although the censorship drove 2 people out of the industry and silenced a song, it could not stop its message, which Sloan described as a message of love. Love for humanity, still striving to find happiness even on the brink of destruction. Eventually, crowds embraced that idea, and Eve of Destruction became a timeless anthem that captures the suffering of a humanity that refuses to surrender, even in the face of its darkest threats. Number 4. The End by The Doors.
This is the end.
Some songs have to be recorded and broadcast before they can be banned or silenced. Others are censored, sometimes only in part, before they ever see the light of day. Such was the case with The End, one of the most epic pieces by one of rock and roll's most electrifying and mind-bending bands.
Loud brick plans the end.
It all began at the Whiskey A Go-Go in Los Angeles. The Doors were the house band, playing 2 sets every night. After the first, someone had to fetch Morrison from his home, where they found him in a severely altered state. When the time came to sing The End, originally a simple farewell song for his former girlfriend, Mary Werbelow, the lyrics mutated into an Oedipal nightmare. The next day, they were fired from the club. Later, in the studio, when Jim tried to record the song, once again in an altered state of mind, he threw himself to the floor and performed it while rolling around, repeating the same Oedipal fantasy. The entire song was recorded, but sound engineer Bruce Botnick chose to censor the take to keep the band from crossing the line into inappropriate material. The End had once again been banned in all its glory and could appear only in a more sanitized version. Years later, when Francis Ford Coppola chose it for Apocalypse Now, the song was edited again, and only in 1999 did we finally hear it in full. This time, it was not the media that banned it, but the successive edits made throughout the recording and release process, which reduced it to a version considered more palatable for the general public. They tried to censor its spirit, but music, as always, overcame every obstacle. Today, it remains a landmark track that continues to carry listeners around the world on a 12-minute journey of pure musical brilliance. Number 3, A Day in the Life by the Beatles. In 1967, the Beatles were the undisputed kings of the music world. The reign of the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley, was behind them. And when Sgt. Pepper's arrived, there was no doubt about who now occupied the throne. A Day in the Life is one of those Fab Four songs that swings between beauty and chaos, like a magical pendulum capable of sending chills down your spine and drawing you into a world of psychedelia, noise, and sonic experimentation. It is also a classic collaboration between Lennon and McCartney at their most inspired, with each contributing a different section to create something eclectic and utterly unique. Even as the biggest band on the planet, on May 23, 1967, they received a letter written personally by BBC director Frank Gillard. In it, he regretfully informed them that the phrase, "I'd love to turn you on," could not be broadcast on the country's radio stations. According to Gillard, even if the band had recorded it with innocent intentions, the phrase could be interpreted as a drug reference because it had become associated with countercultural slang. The band rejected these accusations, arguing that the lyrics had been inspired by newspaper stories and had no such meaning. But the BBC was run with an iron fist, and the ban remained in force throughout the United Kingdom. What the BBC did not realize was that it was merely delaying the inevitable. By the time the track finally reached the airwaves, the controversy had given it even greater notoriety than it would have enjoyed without the ban. Once again, the music prevailed, and fans around the world embraced John's fragile voice over the delicate piano and lightly strummed acoustic guitar, making A Day in the Life one of the album's most important tracks. Number 2, God Save the Queen by Sex Pistols. Few people know two facts about this song that make it even more remarkable. First, it bears exactly the same title as England's national anthem, except that Queen replaces King. Second, it was released on the same day as Queen Elizabeth II's Silver Jubilee, marking her 25 years on the throne. The Sex Pistols captured the frustration of young people who were tired of supporting a monarchy with their taxes, while jobs grew scarce and everyday life became increasingly harsh. All of that anger was compressed into an explosive and instantly catchy song. Singer John Lydon, better known as Johnny Rotten, wrote it at the kitchen table while he was still living with his parents, long before the Sex Pistols even existed. But the band's provocative image and sound provided the perfect framework for that message to reach an entire country. In fact, it sold more copies than the chart-topping single, Rod Stewart's I Don't Want to Talk About It, yet mysteriously remained at number 2. That was not all. The A&M label terminated its contract with the band and withdrew every pressed copy from the market. Major record store chains refused to stock it, and the BBC, although it never issued an official ban, removed it from all its main playlists, restricting it to moderate success within a handful of niche circles. But the anger toward the monarchy was not something Lydon had invented. It was a feeling shared by an entire generation, which adopted the song as a battle cry and helped make God Save the Queen the defining punk composition of the 1970s. Now tell me, are you one of the lucky few who already knew some of these songs? And how did you discover them? Tell us in the comments. We read everyone. Number 1. Louie Louie by The Kingsmen. Louie Louie is the most recorded song in rock history, with an estimated 1,600 to 2,000 versions. Yet one of those countless interpretations would become iconic, and would go so far as to challenge the FBI itself. But let's go back to the beginning. The Kingsmen wanted jobs on a cruise ship and needed a record so they could apply. They recorded 2 classic songs, one of which was Louie Louie, written by Richard Berry in 1956. The result, shaped by a tight budget and a modest studio, sounded nothing like the polished releases of Columbia Records. Boston's most influential DJ, Arnie Ginsberg, introduced it on the air as the worst record of the week. The phones lit up immediately, and the Kingsmen's chaotic, rough-edged, desperate-sounding version would spend 2 months in the top 10 of the Billboard Hot 100. But that was not the strangest part, and nobody could have anticipated what followed. Rumors of supposedly obscene messages hidden in the almost unintelligible lyrics began to circulate, and soon students were passing around crumpled notes filled with outrageous lines they claimed were the real words Jack Ely was singing. The situation escalated so far that the FBI opened an investigation lasting 31 months, only to conclude that its agents could not make out a single word being sung. During that period, several states banned the song outright from their radio stations. The mystery was solved when Eli himself explained that his voice sounded that way because the microphone was hanging from the studio ceiling, forcing him to stand on tiptoe and shout upward. To make matters worse, he was wearing braces at the time. The Kingsmen's version of this classic ultimately became one of the most embarrassing fiascos in the history of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The greatest irony is that many of these songs did more than survive censorship. They went on to become major commercial hits. In fact, do you know which songs sold the most records during the 1960s? Click on the next video, and we'll uncover the decade's best-selling song. Click now, and I'll see you there, my fellow rocker.